Need to do is to listen until one chapter finishes, and then I'm going to ask questions tomorrow if you can still remember it. Ready? Okay. A long time ago, when all the grandfathers and grandmothers of today were little boys and little girls, or very small babies, or perhaps not even born, Pa and Ma and Mary and Laura and baby Carrie left their little house in the big woods of Wisconsin. They drove away and left it lonely and empty in the clearing among the big trees, and they never saw that little house again. They were going to the Indian country. Pa said there were too many people in the big woods now. Quite often, Laura heard the ringing thud of an axe which was not Pa's axe, or the echo of a shot that did not come from his gun. The path that went by the little house had become a road. Almost every day, Laura and Mary stopped their playing and stared in surprise at a wagon slowly creaking by on that road. Wild animals would not stay in a country where there were so many people. Pa did not like to stay either. He liked a country where the wild animals lived without being afraid. He liked to see the little fawns and their mothers looking at him from the shadowy woods, and the fat, lazy bears eating berries in the wild berry patches. In the long winter evenings, he talked to Ma about the western country. In the west, the land was level and there were no trees. The grass grew thick and high. There the wild animals wandered and fed as though they were in a pasture that stretched much far. Sela, Sela, not too loud. Your voice is louder than mine. Your ate and kuya cannot hear it.
I can hear some.
In the long winter evenings, he talked to Ma about the western country. In the west, the land was level, and there were no trees. The grass grew thick and high. There, the wild animals wandered and fed as though they were in the pasture that stretched much farther than a man could see. And there were no settlers. TJ? No? Can you get TJ? He's going to play with the water and he's going to get wet.
He made my foot wet. Me too.
Tell her you can always wash your Don't go back to the water. Continuing on, one day in the very last, the grass grew thick and high. There the wild animals wandered and fed as though they were in a pasture that stretched much farther than a man could see. And there were no settlers. Only Indians lived there. One day in the very last of the winter, Pa said to Ma, "Seeing you don't object, I've decided to go see the West. I've had an offer for this place and we can sell it now for as much as we're ever likely to get. Enough to give us a start in a new country." "Oh, Charles, must we go now?" Ma said. The weather was so cold and the snug house was so comfortable. Sela, you're still loud. "If we are going this year, we must go now," said Pa. "We can't get across the Mississippi after the ice breaks." So Pa sold the little house. Oh my gosh. He sold the cow, he sold the calf, he made hickory bows and fastened them upright to the wagon box. Ma helped him stretch white canvas over them. In the thin, dark morning, Ma gently shook Mary and Laura till they got up. In firelight and candlelight, she washed and combed them and dressed them warmly. Over their long red flannel underwear, she put wool petticoats and wool dresses, and long wool stockings. She put their coats on them and their rabbit skin hoods and their red yarn mittens. Everything from the little house was in the wagon, except the beds and tables and chairs. They did not need to take these, because Pa could always make new ones. There was thin snow on the ground. The air was still and cold and dark. The bare trees stood up against the frosty stars. But in the east the sky was pale, and through the gray woods came lanterns with wagons and horses, bringing Grandpa and Grandma and aunts and uncles and cousins. Mary and Laura clung tight to their rag dolls and did not say anything. The cousins stood around and looked at them. Grandma and all the aunts hugged and kissed them and hugged and kissed them and hugged and kissed them again before they said goodbye. Pa hung his gun to the wagon bows inside the canvas top, where he could reach it quickly from the seat. He hung his bullet pouch and powder horn beneath it. He laid the fiddle box carefully between pillows where jolting would not hurt in the fiddle. The uncles helped him hitch the horses to the wagon. All the cousins were told to kiss Mary and Laura, so they did. Pa picked up Mary and then Laura and set them on the bed in the back of the wagon. He helped Ma climb up to the wagon seat, and Grandma reached up and gave her baby Carrie. Pa swung up and sat beside Ma, and Jack, the brindle bulldog, went under the wagon. So they all went away from the little log house. The shutters were over the windows so the little house could not see them go. It stayed there inside the log fence, behind the two big oak trees that in the summertime had made green roofs for Mary and Laura to play under. And that was the last of the little house. Pa promised that when they came to the west, Laura should see a papoose. I don't know what is that. What is papoose? She asked him, and he said, a papoose is a little brown Indian baby. Oh, I learned a word. Papoose. They drove a long way through the snowy woods till they came to the town of Tepi. So that's the end of the chapter. Give me one word that you heard in the story. Yes. One word only. What? Chair. Okay.
I heard a sentence though.
Word only. Sentence is not a word. Sentence are a group of words.
Sold.
Sold. Okay. What's your name?
Shaira.
Shaira. What? Give me one word that you heard. One word only. Don't play with the water.
Don't even think about jumping up and down in that cuddle.
One word
Just say one word.
that you heard.
Oh.
Si Kangay. What? Table. Okay. What do you think is happening to the family? Yes.
They're going to sell the house.
Very good. On Thursday, tawan na kayo, no bigat. 2 weeks diya eh. On Thursday, I will ask some question and I will give a prize to someone who can answer the questions. Okay? You can now play. Thank you and see you.